fever എന്നുള്ള സമയമായിട്ടില്ല. We have not talked about this thing, antigen presentation. Yes, neutrophil infiltration. Yes, very good. So neutrophil primary antibody response അതിനൊക്കെ മുന്നേ, even before that, what happens is this neutrophil infiltration happens. Okay, post immune response is initiated, and the neutrophils migrate onto the lymph node. Okay, so neutrophil migration happens. Now what will the neutrophil do? Neutrophil is also called as, do you know the other name of neutrophils? Does anybody know the other name? Polymorphonuclear cells. Yes, once it comes out of the circulation, it is called as PMN cells. Good. Then there is another name. Actually, it's not the macrophages. Very good, Srihari. But it is not the macrophages. It is rather the microphage of Mechnikov. Macrophage is totally different thing. Macrophage is macrophage is the tissue phase of monocyte. Monocyte circulation പുറത്തു വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാലാണ് it is called as macrophage. But this thing, neutrophils were initially called by Mechnikov as microphages. So what do? They try to phagocytose the bacteria. Okay, so as soon as the inflammatory response is initiated, what will happen? Neutrophil, yes, very good. Neutrophil will come and try to engulf this bacteria. But what is the peculiarity of bacteria? Bacteria cannot be phagocytosed. Okay, so maybe the bacteria is phagocytosed, but it cannot be killed. So what will happen to the neutrophil once it undergoes phagocytosis? What is the fate of neutrophil following phagocytosis? Phagocytosis in ശേഷം what happens to the neutrophil? Or how many bacteria can a macrophage or a neutrophil swallow? Do you know? Lysis. Yes, one is the answer. So the bacteria, only one time, the neutrophil can phagocytose only one time. Following the phagocytosis, the neutrophil will die. Okay, so the neutrophil will die, and the dead neutrophil is called as neutrophil ചത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അതിനെ എന്തെന്ന് വിളിക്കും? A dead neutrophil is called as yes, very good, Rukmini. The dead neutrophil is called as pus cell. So that is how, yes, pus cells, and that is how pus cells form in the lymph node as a part of or due to this particular bacterial infection. So what happens is that there will be neutrophil migration, and the bacteria will be resisting the phagocytosis. As bacteria resist phagocytosis, the neutrophils will die, resulting in formation of pus cells. And the pus cell will form, or the accumulation of pus cells, it will form a good medium for the bacteria to multiply. So finally what will happen? The bacteria, the whole of the lymph node ends up as a large sort of a pool of dead and degenerating neutrophils, and in that pool you will find large number of streptococci that is living happily together. Now what happens? The streptococci start to multiply. The streptococci will start to multiply and produce certain toxins, and especially now is the time where it produces the streptolysin, the pyrogenic exotoxins and all. Now the streptolysin is formed, and what will be the property? It is a lytic enzyme, and it will lyse the cell membrane. Okay, so it will start lysing the cell membranes. The toxins will activate plasminogen, and you will get a lot of the exudations, and since plasminogen is activated, the plasma and the blood will be coming, and there will be clot formation, and everything, you get a cavity that is completely filled with pus and a multiplying organism by the end of 48 hours of initial infection. So what will that result in the formation of? That will result in formation of an abscess. Okay, so what you will get? Yes, abscess, very good. So you can imagine now how the process is happening. Okay, so the bacteria comes, neutrophil comes to eat it, but neutrophil cannot eat, but unfortunately neutrophil dies. Once one neutrophil dies, what will happen? More signals are sent, and that will call other neutrophils also to come and attack, but whatever neutrophil is coming and attacking, it is going to die only without fulfilling its mission. The dead neutrophil forms a media for bacteria to grow, and soon itself the lymph node becomes a pool of pus, where you get a large number of bacteria that will result in the release of streptolysin. Cell membrane damage happens, plasminogen activation happens, and finally ends up in the formation of abscess. And you can see that the lymph node greatly enlarges in size, and it blocks the drainage of the lymph node to or the drainage of the lymph, further drainage, and that will result in development of edema. Okay, now where is all the drama happening? All this drama is happening at which part of the body? Which part of the body? എവിടെ ഇതൊക്കെ സംഭവിക്കുന്നത്? Which lymph node? Pharyngeal lymph node. Yes. Now there are pharyngeal lymph nodes. So there are a few lymph nodes, 4 or 5 lymph nodes in the pharyngeal region, and any of these lymph node can be infected, and it's not retropharyngeal. It can be any of the pharyngeal lymph nodes. Okay, retropharyngeal is a submandibular is there, retropharyngeal is there, maxillary is there, mandibular lymph node is there. It can happen in any of the pharyngeal, suprapharyngeal. It can happen in any of the pharyngeal lymph nodes. ഇന്ന ലിംഫ് നോഡിലെ സംഭവിക്കുന്നില്ല. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഇൻ ദ ലിംഫ് നോഡ് ഓഫ് ദ ഫെറിഞ്ചിയൽ റീജിയൻ ആക്ച്വലി. ഓക്കെ, അതിൽ ഏതിൽ വേണോ ഈ പ്രശ്നങ്ങളൊക്കെ സംഭവിക്കാം. Now what will happen if the lymph node greatly enlarges? എന്ത് പറ്റും? ആ ഭാഗത്തെ ലിംഫ് നോഡ് കട്ടപ്പാനം വലുതായി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ ആപ്സസ് വന്ന് എഡിമ കാരണം there is abscess, there is edema, and it greatly enlarges. What will happen? Suppose you imagine yourself, it will burst, but before bursting, so imagine that a lymph node in your pharyngeal region is greatly enlarged. Yes, exactly, dyspnea will happen. Somebody initially posted, it's not about the difficulty in swallowing, but dyspnea happens. So the external luminal obstruction happens. Okay, the tracheal it will interfere with the caseous lymphadenitis. This is only abscess. It is not caseous lymphadenitis. Anyway, caseous lymphadenitis is totally a different thing. Anyway, so the enlarged lymph node will go and obstruct the trachea. So what will happen? The animal may find it difficult to breathe, as if somebody has strangulated the animal. So that is why the disease is known as strangles. Okay, is it clear now? So that is how strangles happen. Yes, so that is the mechanism of strangles. So it is essentially an abscess of the lymph node, where the pharyngeal lymph node. So the pharyngeal lymph node abscessation happens, and because of the abscess and edema, the lymph node enlarges, and that will cause the extraluminal obstruction of the trachea, resulting in asphyxiation. Now, if this asphyxiation is really bad, what will happen? The animal may, find it difficult to breathe, and it can die due to the blockage of airway and asphyxia. Okay, so that is the worst possible outcome of strangles in a horse. So I am going to stop the so this is see here. So This is the what to say, the initial process of this thing. So you can see that the neutrophil is flowing and it is migrating, it is coming out and releasing further cytokines that will further attract more neutrophils, and it is going and trying to it is going and trying to kill the green things of streptococci, trying to kill streptococci, and but unfortunately the bacteria itself dies, the WBC itself, neutrophil itself dies and becomes pus cell. So you get a dead pool of dead and degraded neutrophils and streptococci. Then it will release the toxin, resulting in the formation of the abscess. Okay, so this is how egg holes with the triangles look like basically. So what is the swelling? It will be a abscess of the lymph node. Okay, so these are the the various lymph nodes that are present. So it can happen anywhere. So this is the set of this thing, pharyngeal lymph node. So this is how the holes will feel like. Okay, somebody has strangulated it. Have you heard the word strangulation? Strangulation. കഴുത്ത് ഞെരിക്കുക എന്ന് പറയും. Okay, കഴുത്ത് ഞെരിക്കുക. So what happens when somebody tries to put you or you put you in a noose, അല്ലെ? തൂക്കിക്കൊല്ലാൻ നേരത്തോ തൂങ്ങി മരിക്കാൻ നേരത്തോ തോന്നുന്ന അതേ ഫീലിംഗ് ആയിരിക്കും കുതിരയ്ക്കും തോന്നുക, because of the asphyxia that blocks this thing. Okay, so that happens, and I will stop this presentation now. I'll go to my mind map and then explain to you what happens further. ഇതുവരെയുള്ള ക്ലിയർ അല്ലേ? I hope everything is clear up to now. Yes. Okay, right. Okay, so up to this is over. Okay, right. Now you have the abscess. Okay, now what can happen to the abscess? So first thing, the most important thing is that the abscess can enlarge, it can block the airway, it will cause asphyxia and the death of the animal. Or, as somebody told, the abscess has to burst. It can rupture. Yes. So abscess can rupture. Now what will happen? What will happen if rupture happens? What will happen if the abscess is rupturing? Okay, what will happen? So it can drain. It can drain off. Sinus formation and drainage of pus. Yes, it can drain off. പക്ഷേ ഈ ഫാരിങ്സിലുള്ള ആബ്സസ് എങ്ങോട്ട് ഡ്രെയിൻ ചെയ്യും? Where it will drain off? So it can drain off to outside. Okay, it can drain off to outside, as you have seen in the last case. So it can drain off to through the outside to neck and down through the skin, or ഇതെവിടെയാ? ഫാരിങ്സിലാണ് അല്ലെ? ഫാരിങ്സിലാണ്. It can lung, I am coming, it is very important. Or it can safely drain off through the nose. Pharyngealanallo, it can drain off through the nose. So these two things, if these two things happens, if the abscess ruptures and drains off to the outside, then the horse is going to survive, or you can say that the horse rakshabatu. Horse is saved. Why? Because it will drain off and slowly the animal will develop the immunity, further immunity, and it will remain immune for a very long time. Okay, but sometimes what will happen, as you people told, it can drain off into the lungs. Okay, so if it drains downside through the other way and reaches the lungs, then what will happen? The pus gets aspirated into the lungs, and that will result in a severe pneumonia, and that will cause the death of the animal. So yes, aspiration pneumonia, it will cause septicemia, toxemia, and finally there also the animal may die. Won't it affect the other? Yes, that is called as metastatic strangles. Very good question. Very good question. So it's a very thoughtful question. What happens? It can drain down the lymphatics from that point. Okay, it can drain down the lymphatics, and wherever the lymph goes, there all these strangles will develop. Okay, so you get abscesses along the lymphatic channels, and that is known as metastatic abscess or strangles or bastard strangles. Okay, it's called bastard strangles. Do you know what the term bastard means? You know, it's a bad word, but what is the meaning of that? Does anybody know? Or you just call when you are angry without knowing the meaning? What is the meaning of bastard? Fatherless. Yeah. Fatherless. So you won't know who is the father of these new abscesses. Why? Because it has originated from some other places. So that is why it's called the bastard strangles or metastatic strangles. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4 fates of the abscess that develops. Okay, so it can drain off safely, or it can enlarge and choke the airway. It can drain into the lung and cause pneumonia and death, or it can cause metastatic strangles. Okay, now what happens then? So metastatic strangles happens. Now what happens is that your system is flooded with a lot of bacterial toxins, bacterial antigens, and all sort of those things. So what happens is that body will try to produce antibodies against these antigens also, and that will produce body will try to produce overexpress its immune system, and the whole antibody production increases, and the entire the antibody production goes haywire and it misfires. So what will happen? You will get misdirected antibodies as a part of this hyperimmune reaction. Okay, and these unwanted antibodies may go and react with the endothelium of the blood vessels or the muscle tissues. Okay, so depending upon the tissues, muscle, or the endothelium, the fate of this hyperimmune reaction usually will be either purpura hemorrhagica, a condition called as purpura hemorrhagica, or immune mediated myositis will develop. So you will get either a hyperimmune reaction, and that will result in purpura hemorrhagica or myositis. Okay. Further, what will happen? Since lot of antibodies produced, there will be lot of antigens, because that is why antibodies are being produced in lot, and antibody and antigen complex will happen, and the body has to filter off this antigen antibody complex, and all these antigen antibody complex will go and deposit into which part of the body? Which part of the body? Kidney, glomerulus. Yes, very good. So what will happen? What can happen if it goes and gets deposited in the glomerulus? It will block the glomerulus, and that will result in glomerulonephritis. So that will result in glomerulonephritis. Very good, very good. So these are the two sequelae of what? Of strangle. So you will get an abscess formation and a hyperimmune reaction. Usually any one or two of these will happen. Not everything will happen together, but usually these two happen. If the horse is lucky enough, it will survive. So that is the pathogenesis of strangles. Now we will see what is the how is this thing manifested clinically. So this is, see, now can you try to identify what is happening here? Okay, so yeah, I'll take my laser pointer. Yeah, so what is happening here in this picture? nasal discharge. Oh, edema. I'm not seeing edema. It is you do you yeah, it is nasal. You can see the yellow color pus. So this yellow color is very much associated with our it has drained through nose. So it is this yellow colored pus is a very typical feature of strangles. Okay, you should remember that yellow color pus. Yellow color pus in strangles, then tan color pus in ulcerative lymphadenitis or lymphangitis, greenish pus in case of blinders. So these three things you should remember. The color of pus is a common question that is asked in all the entrance exams, PG entrance or PSC entrance and all. So blinders, strangles, ulcerative lymphangitis has three different colored pus. So that is how you get a first primary guess. And what has happened here? So here also the abscess is formed and it has flown outside. What is this thing? Ulcer, yeah, it is an ulcer, okay. But we did not talk about this ulcer in the pathogenesis. Yeah, oral ulcer. But how did it come? എങ്ങനെ ഈ ulcer develop ചെയ്തത്? Yes, it is. No, it's not because of uremia. It is purpura hemorrhagica. Very good. So what happens is that the misdirected antibodies will go and attack the endothelium of blood vessel, and the endothelial integrity is lost, and that will result in edema and ulceration wherever the endothelium is damaged. Initially, it comes in the this gingival mucosa. Okay, so this is the sign of purpura hemorrhagica. You will get more disturbing pictures are coming anyways. So now let us talk about the clinical signs. So what are the clinical signs? It is a bacterial infection. We have told about the pyrogenic exotoxins and all. So initially there will be what? Initially there will be fever. Initially there will be fever. Invariably there will be fever. So acute cases, the incubation period is usually 1 to 3 weeks. There will be fever. Then animal may go anorectic, and as the abscess develop, abscess develop, and as the abscess develops, it becomes asphyxiated, and you can see that the animal is holding it, stretching out its neck, opened air mouth, and it stretches out its neck and tries to breathe hard. I don't think this particular picture is a horse with the strangles. I just took it from an internet to show the posture, typical posture. Laryngitis will not happen because it will be oozing, pus only is oozing. It is because of the asphyxia. It is not because of laryngitis. Okay, you won't find any cough or anything. There will be only asphyxia. Okay, only asphyxia will be there. The animal will be finding it really hard to breathe. Inflammatory response, yeah, there will be, you have this abscess, edema formation, swollen lymph node will be there, yellow pus, yes. So the next thing is the, nasal discharge. Nasal discharge is a very important thing. You can see in the down figure, you can see this yellow colored discharge, mucopurulent discharge that is oozing out from the nose of the host. Then what will happen? The abscess can happen in the retropharyngeal lymph node or submandibular lymph node. That will result in pharyngitis. Okay, there you will get a pain, and the animal will, the animal will be repeatedly coughing there. So if it happens in the retropharyngeal lymph node or submandibular lymph node, there will be chance of developing pharyngitis, and there will be pain, and this asphyxia will be prominent. Okay, and this happens in about 3 to 4 days, and you will get abscess, and abscess will rupture. And when when this particular thing, the abscess of a retropharyngeal or submandibular lymph node ruptures, then only there is a chance of drainage of this abscess into the guttural pouch. Okay, and that will result in the emboyema of guttural pouch. Okay, so here in this picture, this is the endoscopic view of the guttural pouch. Okay, so some probe has been driven into the guttural pouch, and you can see the yellow pus that is coming out. Are you able to appreciate? I am sure it is really obvious. So this is what happens when the submandibular or retropharyngeal lymph node ruptures in case of strangles, and that will result in the empyema of the guttural pouch. Now, what will happen if this thing goes untreated, or if this is not taken out? What will happen? Abscess will remain there, and slowly this thing will get solidified. Okay, this thing will get solidified, and you can see yet another endoscopic view. Do you see a stone-like thing here? Are you able to see a stone-like thing here and here? So this is the entire mucosal thing. These stones are solidified pus. Okay, solidified pus of a host that has been recovered from strangles, and this hard mass is known as chondroids. Okay, this hard mass is called as chondroids. Okay, chondroids, and the presence of chondroids means the animal has been infected with this particular disease, and this is how the animal becomes a carrier, and it starts to shed the bacteria to the environment also. So these are the major clinical signs. So this is a typical the typical strangles. And yes, here this one I forgot to mention, this is the lymphatic tract will open up, and it will start oozing pus. So these are the things that you are once you are in an equine practice, you are going to see very commonly. Okay, so you will see drained out pus like this, enlarged lymph node will be swollen, and next day the animal will be having fever, and slowly it will start oozing pus and all. So this affects the you see how it affects the beauty of this animal. So these are the set of clinical signs that you regularly see. Then you have atypical strangles. Okay, atypical strangles is also called as strangle in burrows. Okay, burrows are a mule-like animal that is found in the Latin American countries. Basically, they are mules only, but they are called as burrows there. But in burrows, what happens is that the mesenteric lymph nodes are commonly involved in the development, or commonly involved in strangles. Okay, so Streptococcus equine causes enlarged causes lymphadenitis of the mesenteric lymph node, and you can see there is a large swelling and edema on the right side of the abdomen of this particular burrow. So this is not commonly seen thing, but it is very typical in case of burrows, and this is known as strangles of burrows. Okay, is it clear? So it's just a point to remember. Otherwise, it is not very important thing. So strangles in burrows happens in the other sort of equine. Now we will talk about the complications of strangles. So we have told how abscess happens, and will they have any neural symptoms if the lymph node? One second, I did not get the question. Yeah, if it drains into a cranium. Yes, very good question. Sharath, okay. So that's a really interesting question. So Sharath, can you see this particular image? Yes, what do you think it is? Yeah, it is brain, and so this is brain. This whole thing is brain, and can you see a big thing here? What is that? It is a cerebral abscess. Yes, yes. It's a cerebral abscess. It's not the cerebrum. See, do you see this particular peculiar membrane? You can see the membrane, and then there is a caseous mass inside that. This is pus only. Okay, so it is a brain which is having a abscess inside, a large abscess inside the brain, cerebral abscess. So yes, yes. So yes, Sarath, what will happen if it goes to the CNS, it can deposit in the brain, and that will cause cerebral abscess. So cerebral abscessation is one of the complications. So that is one of the complications, and yes. So anyway, you asked that doubt at the very appropriate time. Now, so that is one of the complications. Let me regroup again. You have to remember that there are 6 complications. Okay, 6 complications of strangle. That is why I have kept 6 images. Okay, you please remember that there are 6 complications of strangle. So what is the first one? First, you are seeing an X-ray image. So what is that? Can you have a diagnosis based on the image? What do you feel from the image? Yes, since it is a picture of lung, it is pneumonia. Okay, good. What type of pneumonia? Aspiration pneumonia, X-ray നോക്കി പറയാൻ പറ്റില്ല. You cannot say it is aspiration pneumonia, but it is bronchopneumonia. Very good, very good. Why you are saying it is bronchopneumonia? X-ray പസ് കാണാൻ പറ്റില്ലല്ലോ. Bronchial pattern, yes. So in a simpler sense, do you see, trachea കാണുന്നുണ്ടല്ലോ അല്ലേ? You can see the trachea on the X-ray radiograph. Agreed? Yes. And following the trachea, can you see a tree-like structure with a lot of branches and all? Lot of branches. Yes. That particular feature is known as arborization. Okay. Arborization means arboreal structure, means tree-like structure. What are these tree-like structures? The tree-like structure is the bronchioles. Okay. In a normal lung, you will not find this tree-like structure if the lung is normal. So here what has happened? There is an inflammatory response along the bronchial structure. Okay. And since the whole bronchial structure is covered in air, the air acts as a very good contrast medium, and the inflammatory exudations and swellings comes as a radio opaque image in the X-ray. Okay, so that means the inflammation or the cause of inflammation has run down from the trachea to the bronchus. Okay, so it has come from breathing in of the air, or the infection has come through air into the lungs. That is why this particular pneumonia is called as bronchopneumonia. What if the infection comes along a hematogenous route? What type of pneumonia you will get? What type of pneumonia? There are 2 types of pneumonia. So here you will get a bronchopneumonia. Why? Because the pus has been aspirated by the animal. What if the infection is through hematogenous? So it has, some bacteria has come through some other place and entered. Yes, that is interstitial. So in interstitial, you won't get this arborization, but you will get a ground glass appearance of lung. Okay, you will get a ground glass appearance, or it will be more opaque, because all the alveoli will be affected, or the space between the alveoli will be infected, reducing the volume of the air that is there. So here you are getting what? Bronchopneumonia, and this can be necrotic also. So you will get a necrotic bronchopneumonia when the host aspirates the pus. Okay. Second thing, as we have told, is about the, so you can see just below the bronchopneumonia, you can see the stone-like structures present in the guttural pouch. So these are called as choroid alla, chondroid. Okay, I'll spell it out for you. So these are known as chondroids. Yes, chondroid. Chondroid. Okay. Oh, sorry. Chondroids. Okay. So the stone-like structure. So empyema. So first one is the necrotic bronchopneumonia. Second is empyema of lateral pouch and followed by chondroid formation. Then next, retropharyngeal lymphadenopathy. Okay, so when the retropharyngeal lymph node is inflamed, the lymphadenopathy develops, and that will compress the retropharyngeal nerve. Okay, so the retropharyngeal nerve gets compressed, and that causes the paralysis of retropharyngeal nerve, and that is called as compression of retropharyngeal nerve results in roaring. Yes, very good. So you remember your anatomy classes. So that is called as roaring. Okay, so roaring can happen in case of strangles. Okay, roaring. Then what about the other thing? Next complication is metastatic abscess. Okay, roaring in the padanyam vachitilla. Okay, I have not put the image of roaring. So metastatic abscess. So that is what Sorry. Yes, sorry. I'm very sorry. Retropharyngeal nerve, recurrent laryngeal nerve. Recurrent laryngeal. Sorry. I'm very sorry. Is it clear? Recurrent laryngeal nerve. Yeah. So you really remember your anatomy classes, right? So Sarinmari, thank you very much. Laryngeal, recurrent laryngeal nerve. Okay, you please, it's recurrent laryngeal nerve. Okay, is it clear? Okay, shall I move? Okay, right. So I'm again really sorry for that. It's recurrent laryngeal nerve. So paralysis of recurrent laryngeal nerve. Recurrent laryngeal nerve happens, and that will result in roaring. Then you have the immune-mediated reactions. Okay, so you have 4 immune-mediated reactions. Possibility of 4 immune-mediated reactions. Adile rendanam endana? They are 2 forms of myositis. Okay, so the last right end bottom picture, you can see focal areas of myonecrosis. Can you understand? Here. So multiple foci of myonecrosis. Multiple foci of myonecrosis. Why this has happened? This has happened because the antibodies are directed against the skeletal muscles. Okay, because of hyperimmune reaction, antibodies are directed against the skeletal muscle, and that will result in immune-mediated myositis. Sometimes this can be directed against the heart muscle also. Then it will result in what? It will result in, if it is directed against myocarditis, not endocarditis, myocarditis. So there will be immune-mediated myocarditis. Okay, there will be immune-mediated myocarditis. Then again, if it is directed against against endothelium, blood vessel and all, then there can be a aseptic form of aseptic necrotizing vasculitis will develop. Okay, it's usually IgAs and all against this M protein. It can be of varying severity. So the necrotizing vasculitis develops, and then there will be subcutaneous edema and hemorrhages, and wherever this vasculitis, necrotizing vasculitis happens, what will happen? There will be underneath, there will be edema. Okay, so there will be subcutaneous edema, and gradually this entire thing will lyse off, leaving the flesh. Okay, the skin will go, leaving the flesh, and this condition, you can see that it has happened here also. Here also you can see that purplish discoloration because of the vasculitis. Here also you can see that everything has eroded out. Here also you can see the skin has sloughed off. This condition is known as purpura hemorrhagica. Okay, so purpura hemorrhagica happens. So these are the complications of strangles. So one thing is abscess, and you have to remember where all these abscess can develop and what will be the fate of abscess. So if it is usually any of the pharyngeal thing is affected, lymph node is affected, it will get enlarged, the animal may get asphyxiated and it will die. If it goes down to the submandibular or retropharyngeal lymph node, the abscess may drain into the guttural pouch. Usually the abscess drains outside through nose or through the skin, then the animal recovers and it survives. Abscess may rupture, enter trachea and may be aspirated, then it will result in necrotizing bronchopneumonia and the horse may die. Then you have misdirected antibodies. There is strangles in burrows or atypical strangles. Misdirected antibody, what will happen? It will cause myositis, myocarditis, glomerulonephritis or purpura hemorrhagica. Then bastard strangles is there. What are the complications? Again, bronchopneumonia, roaring, emphysema of guttural pouch, bastard strangles, purpura hemorrhagica, necrotizing myositis, myocarditis and glomerulonephritis. So you may feel that there is a lot of things, but once you understand the process behind it, it is not that easy to or difficult to remember. Is the whole picture clear to you? Yes, fine. Are you guys exhausted? Shall we stop for the day? Maybe we can continue tomorrow. Any eye lesions? Yeah, if it goes and if it attacks the abscess develops in the brain or associated tissues, it can cause nervous neurological issues, and this thing can be one of the signs, but it's not usual. Blindness എന്ന് പറയുന്ന strangles associated ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു condition പറയുന്നില്ല. Yes, any more doubts? Doubts are welcome. Sir, I didn't get the animal's name with atypical strangles. Okay. It is called a burros. So just Google out this word, Rajat. Google search ചെയ്താൽ മതി, burros. No, necrotizing myositis can be generalized or it can be focal depending upon the area where this thing. So I am just showing a picture where there is focal myonecrosis. Sometimes it can be extensive. Can be extensive also. Yes. അപ്പോൾ മടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞവരൊക്കെ there is no issues, you can leave because ഭക്ഷണം കഴിക്കേണ്ട സമയമായി. Otherwise, if you have doubt, I'll be saying here. Any reason for the yellow coloration? Actually, Arya, I don't know. Frankly speaking, I don't know, but I personally associate many of this most two streptococcal diseases with yellow color. Okay, one is this strangles. You will get a yellow color first. And in Horty's test, there is a test called as Horty's test. I always tell to everybody when I am taking classes on streptococci. So Horty's test, you will get a yellowish precipitate in the milk culture. So I don't know why it is showing yellow color. Maybe it produces some pigments. That could be the reason. Why won't chondroids cause asphyxia? Chondroids chondroids are there only in the guttural pouch. Okay, clear right? So chondroids are there only in the guttural pouch, and guttural pouch is like an pouches on the side of eustachian canal. So it will not go and compress the trachea. Okay, and maybe excess of pus may be flowing out through ear or something like that. So the chondroids will not cause, even empyema of the guttural pouch will not cause this thing. Chondroid എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഈ പസ് ഡ്രൈഡ് ഔട്ട് ആയ സാധനമാണ്. എംപൈമ ആവുമ്പോൾ പോലും it will not cause, it is not said that it will not cause this thing. എന്തുണ്ടാക്കില്ല, asphyxiation ഉണ്ടാക്കില്ല. Yeah, right. Green, okay, green pus in glandus. Then tan in ulcerative lymphangitis. Do we need to, of course, the empyema of guttural pouch remove the surgery, there is a surgery that will be taught in surgery classes. Okay, so chondroids have to be, they may remove, but see, when race horses, costly horses and all, it is a fitness issue. അത് ഞാൻ ഇതിൽ പറയാം. So this guttural pouch washing ആണ് strangles ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നോ ഉണ്ടോ എന്നൊക്കെ നോക്കുന്നത്. So you have to take the washings of guttural pouch and culture it and see if the horse has strangles or if it is a carrier. If guttural pouch washing in the culture of PCR negative ആയാൽ മാത്രമേ the horse is admitted into a stable or into a race. Okay, so chondroid ഉണ്ടെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ പിന്നെ അതിന്റെ കാര്യം തീരുമാനമാവുമല്ലോ. So chondroids, it has to be removed, it has to be drained and all. Yes, വരട്ടെ സംശയങ്ങളൊക്കെ വരട്ടെ, മടുത്തവർക്കൊക്കെ പോവാം, no issues. So if you are, yeah, thank you, very nice, thank you sir, thank you. Right, so shall we wind up? Okay, right, thank you guys. So it's really nice to meet you all. If it was our real class, we would have made it more interactive maybe. So yeah, thank you guys. So I'll soon be posting this. I'll stop the